Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. I don't know if we can hear people. Good evening. Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name is Matt Drake. This is episode 154, and I'm not currently joined by my co-host, Morgan Harteveld. He has literally just had a work call come through, so he'll be back with us very shortly. Good evening, everybody. Hope you've had a fantastic week. It's been a good. You're back. We've got you back.
Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Oh, one second. I will be back.
Oh no, he's gone again. It's been an absolutely packed week here. What is that shirt? Says Tom. Yes, this is a. Morgan very kindly ordered these.
Hi, Matt.
So good evening, Morgan. So I was just explaining about the shirt. So we're matchy tonight.
We are matchy, and I'm just going to start off. And I'm so sorry, team. I'm so sorry, Matt. I'm so sorry, Henry, who's in the background. I am on call for work Monday to Friday, and I got a call with about 15 seconds left before the show started, and they're definitely going to ring back in a moment. So I am going to have to dip out, unfortunately. Okay. Work calls, but I will be back. I'll stick with you as long as I can.
Excellent.
Unfortunately, the show doesn't pay the bills. Work does.
Well, no, that's fair enough. So yeah, first of all, I love the shirt. It's very you. I will say.
I think it's very you. Matt. It's tropical. It's got those generation feels. You know, we like to look good out there, and I think you look fantastic.
Yeah. So no, well, thank you very much. I shall certainly be wearing it on the course, which much to the horror of all of the old farts, I'm sure. But it'll be.
You know what? Maybe we have to just kit them out as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we can do. So, have you been out on the course this week? What have you been up to?
Have I been on the course? No, it's been a pretty busy week. We had lawn bowls finals this week. If that sort of counts as being on the course.
I guess so. How did you do?
Well, unfortunately, we were playing for 5th place in the whole tournament, but we did win 9-1. We absolutely decimated them.
That's
absolute walkover. So happy with that, but not happy with the final result. But you know what? We're not professionals. We don't practice, and we roll up. We have a couple of rums, and we see what happens.
Excellent. Well, look, it's been a great week here. There's been a bit of disc golf on the telly. I tell you, one thing I've been really enjoying over the last couple of weeks is having coverage of disc golf of like the round before the next round starts. That's
pretty awesome. The rate and off that it's being released. Right?
It doesn't like that doesn't happen normally. Well, at least for us, and so it's and so that's been fantastic to see. So yeah, tip of the cap to GK Pro for turning that around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having a full-time dedicated disc golf coverage team out here, that's shows its colors. It's amazing. Such great work.
Very good. Right, so we're going to get on with the show. We've got hot scores coming up first, and then we're going to bring in our guest, Henry Pearson. We've got some questions for him, and you've sent me some questions. I've got some on Instagram. I've got a couple on email. I'm sure there'll be some that come through in the chat as well, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. We're looking to do a bit of a review of the Tour Down Under. It's not over yet, but it's nearly over. One more event to go, which is Paradise this weekend. And so we're just going to bring in Henry, and I think also we might be joined by some special guests as well. So stay tuned for that. We'll have to see who Henry can rustle up. And then we've got a couple of other bits of news, Morgan, that I wanted to talk to you about, which we'll get to after the chat with Henry. And then we're also going to be looking ahead to the final 2 events in the Elite Series, which will be coming up pretty quick. And we'll be taking a look at the leaderboards for the Elite Series and just going down who we think could take out their respective divisions. Okay,
fantastic. Sounds like a good show, Matt.
How does that sound?
Sounds fantastic to me.
Excellent. We'll kick us off down south.
Kicking us off down south, as always, we're headed down to Queen's Park in Invercargill. We've got Mr. Hayden Edgley edging everyone out with a minus 14, a 43. Incredible shooting down there. Chingford Park over in Dunedin, we've got Tristan with a 3 under par. Brockville staying in Dunedin, we've got Mr. Tom McKay, the lead horse for Dunedin Disc Golf, with a 6 under par there at Brockville. Headed over to my neck of the woods, and we've got the Queenstown Gardens. We've got Nicholas Moore with a 14 under par. I was just saying to you guys off here that I love seeing these names here that I don't know, and I'm not very familiar with, I should say, coming up with these hot scores. So Nicholas Moore with a 14 under the Gardens, and then we're headed out to Tucker Beach, and we've got Reese, and I'm so sorry if I say this incorrectly, but Reese Winewski with a minus 3 under par at Tucker Beach, and he's joined by Connor Donnelly, one of our locals. 3 under par there for those fellas. Ely Point over in Wanaka, we've got Ryan Cambridge with a 21, 6 under par, and then headed up to Lismore up on the hill, we've got Mr. John Menzies, and of course, what sort of week would it be at Sweet Chain without Mundo McDisc, both shooting an 8 under par. Headed on up to Christchurch at Jelly Park, we've got Kyle Harrop with a 14 under par, another huge score up there. Ascot still in Christchurch, we've got Aidan and Jamie with even par to take out this week's hot score. Queen's Park Reserve, 6 under par for Sergey Sanin. And Mr. Stephen Martin rounds out the north of the South Island at Taylor River with a 4 under par. That's some pretty awesome shooting there in the south. And again, I just love to see these names in my local neighbourhood that I don't know or I'm not too familiar with taking out those top spots. How did we go in the north?
Up to Berrenpore, and it's Kyle Harrop who's been getting around, shoots 8 under in the capital today at Berrenpore. So congratulations to him. I saw him at, saw that he played league at Hardcore this week as well. Over the water to Hikoikoi, and Andy Davey and Matt Badger tie for the week with a 22-5 under par. Up at Hardcore Park, Johnny Wake is the hot score with a 4 under par, and he's also the hot score with Arthur Horn of 8 under par at Linklater. Up to Maryland's and Jason Gray and Brian Rawlins tie for the week at 3 under. Spar Park Black sees Callum Petman go round at 6 down. McLaren's Longs was taken out by Josh Pratt with 8 under par, and Goose Van Gisteren hits Henderson for 8 under par. So well done to him. Excellent. So some pretty good shooting all week. We've Morgan, you've got some big headphones on that are hopefully dampening the echo, but it's apparently...
Well, I do. It says I've got an echo. I don't really know where we could be getting an echo from because all the sound's coming through my ears and into the microphone. So now I'm at a loss, and I absolutely much apologize to everyone in the chat here. Doing our best to remedy this issue.
We might need a sound engineer to help us out. We'll have to see. Okay, we should go on. Hopefully, it doesn't. It's not too off-putting. But anyway, we're going to bring in our guest at this time now, who is the tournament director of the Tour Down Under and of Nationals this year. So good evening to Henry Pearson. Good evening, Henry.
G'day. How you going? Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, going very good. Very good ourselves. How about you? How are you going?
Not too bad, thanks. Can you hear me all right? My internet's lagging a little bit.
We can hear you fine. Yeah,
okay.
A little bit.
Yeah, I can hear you fine too. Yeah, welcome to the show.
Sweet. Yeah, no, it's good to be back. It's been a mammoth couple of weeks, and we're almost at the tail end of the inaugural Tour Down Under season. I'm currently in Queenstown, set to get out to Paradise tomorrow to sort of prepare for what will be a pretty sensational weekend, as it always is at Paradise. Yeah, but it's been a mammoth couple of weeks, and really excited to in part cap it off, but also a little bit sad to see it go. You know, it's been something that I and our team have kind of been working towards for months now, and it's been the culmination of many hours of work and sleepless nights and support from all sorts of people around the country to bring forth this undertaking. So in some ways it's going to leave me a bit devoid of purpose for a while, but I think that might be just what I need. I think so. Well, I mean, I'm partly going to be working over the next couple of weeks. One, just to wrap up the tour season, but also to transport a lot of our gear that we've been using across the country back to Auckland. And I'm going to take my sweet time or leisurely time to meander out my way back up to Auckland over the next couple of weeks and just taking a bit of the sights along the way and do a bit of domestic holidaying, I guess, and in between that before finally settling back and home in Auckland. So that'll be a nice way to sort of see it off. Yeah, look, it's been great in many ways. It's been fantastic. It's been a humongous undertaking. As I mentioned before, we've had 4 sensational events across 4 weeks. We've had already almost 500 competitors compete at those events. We've paid out more than $125,000 in prizes and cash and players' pack contributions already through 3 events, which has been pretty exciting. And we've had some amazing guests join us here for the season, both on the player side with 9 elite professionals joining us, as well as on the media side with GK Pro, who you mentioned before, have been churning out content in lightning sort of quick succession, and MDG Media, who have been covering 2 cards per day, as well as filming a documentary, which will be published to the Disc Golf Network, a 6-episode series on sort of disc golf in New Zealand. So it's been fantastic to have all of those people there, and the events have been, great. A little bit of a mixed bag, I think, as you kind of indicated in your show last week. But I'm quite looking forward to speaking to some of the event sort of matters thus far, and also just providing some clarification to some of the misconceptions around what actually went on at those events, and some of the behind-the-scenes details that I think provide some context to some of the shortcomings, particularly at nationals. But yeah, look, all in all, I think this has been in my opinion, and it's obviously a biased opinion, but in my opinion, a resoundingly positive contribution to the growth of the game in this region. And we're really excited for bringing it back with the 2nd edition of the Tour Down Under in 2025. We've already had some really sort of positive and exciting expressions of interest from players, brands, and media to be a part of the Tour Down Under in 2025. So we're really looking forward to bringing it on.
Well, let me just kick off. Can you hear me all right, Henry?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. I've just changed my microphone input, so let's see how that goes. Let me just kick off by saying we'll start at Taupo. Absolutely killed it. I think everything that I've seen around Taupo just looks simply incredible.
Yeah.
Yourself, Steve Lawson and the team up there look like above and beyond is absolutely the right way to put this. That event, I'm so jealous. I've never had the pleasure of visiting and playing the event anytime in the past, and I will be making every effort to get there next year, to be fair, because that looks just incredible. There's no other words for it. So well done on that front, just right off the bat.
Thanks very much. Look, I couldn't agree more, really. The Steve Lawson, Ken Harris, Richard Atkinson, and the Taupo Disc Golf Club put on a truly amazing event. They do every year, but this one was seriously second to none in terms of its quality. And they've got such a motivated club member base in and behind their mission at Taupo, which culminated in such a great event. I through my influence in the Tour Down Under, supported Ken and Steve in a promotional capacity to assist them in promoting that event. But really the nuts and the bolts of event logistics and operations were with Steve, Ken, and Rich. So, those guys are fantastic, and we were really excited to have partnered with them. And as you mentioned, the overwhelming feedback that we received from players, from spectators, from people who watched at home on the couch was that event met some seriously high expectations that we had hoped to set with regards to sort of the Tour Down Under's products. So, yeah, that was a great way to start off.
Yeah, Sorry, Matt. After you.
No, I was just gonna agree. I haven't, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about Topor. I think that it's kind of testament to the fact that Topor have been doing this a while now, right? They've been churning out good events. They've got a very strong team of people up in Topor that have got a good bit of experience now in putting these kind of tournaments together. And I think that when you kind of put those combinations together, that's when you're going to get a good result, honestly. And I was lucky enough to stay with Steve on the thermal throwdown that was earlier on last year. It was brilliant. His hospitality and his kind of knowledge of the course and the area, and his kind of passion for the care that he had for everybody who was playing was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, look, Topor, big success. I think 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to, whatever scale you use.
And there's one shout out that I need to make, and to be honest, you may have just mentioned it while I was sort of in the chat trying to make sure all the sound was fine. You had a spotter, which I've been told is the spotter of the century. Who is this man? Long hair, ponytail looking guy. Henry, who is this?
I don't know who you're referring to, actually.
I was watching. I was sat here with the MGG guys in my garage last night, watching some of the coverage from Taupo, and they couldn't speak highly enough of this gentleman that was out there just signaling to the players, inbounds, out of bounds, not sure. But
it might have been on that big, is it that big right, that kind of almost horseshoe double right dog leg, I think is.
I feel like the last time I even seen him was on hole 18, quite possibly.
Okay.
If you've watched the final 9, back 9, he was on there. Shout out to you, sir, if you're in that coverage. Everyone that I've spoken to after these guys told me, they said, you were epic, and it's people like you that make events the way they are and as good as they are. So thank you.
We've got a name, Richmond Selwyn. Tip the cap to Richmond.
Well, I haven't unfortunately had the chance to watch very much of the coverage thus far, but I will go back and have a look because that sounds pretty cool. And whoever it is, Richmond Selwyn, if that is you, then I'll try and get in touch and get you something just to say thanks for bringing the energy to Topor.
He looks very deserving and sounds very deserving. That's a good shout. Shout out to you, Richmond.
Then we moved on to Nationals. And I think this is probably the event of the 3 so far that's drawn the largest amount of criticism or had the largest amount of questions associated with it. And me and the Sweet Chain Live have copped a bit of criticism for some of the things that we said last week, based on the fact that we weren't there, and how be it of us to make comments on stuff. And look, so I'd like to just sort of set our kind of position out on this, or at least my views. Morgan may or may not agree, but my view on this, and then we'll get into, maybe Henry, you can then give us your thoughts, and then we can get into some of the questions that we had on it. And that is that for the vast majority of tournaments out there, Topor, Bottle Lake, it could be Garden City Open, it could be Armageddon, it could be Middle Earth Open, it could be any pretty much any tournament, right? If there's things that don't quite go right, that make a material impact to somebody's tournament experience, or somebody comes away going, oh, that was a bit of a crummy tournament, whatever, then I don't, that's their opinion, and they can kind of have that. And I don't, if that's the case, then that's the case. The issue I have is when that happens at Nationals. And I think Nationals is its own separate thing, right? Because I think the tournaments that are run throughout the rest of the year belong to the tournament directors. They're there running the event because they want to run an event for the area that they're in. They want to showcase a course or their abilities as a tournament director, and to put on an event for people. I think Nationals, and this is just my opinion, I think nationals belongs to us. It belongs to the people who are members of the NZDG. It belongs to the New Zealand public, and as a result, I think that when things go wrong, it's almost it's just got a little bit worse of a tinge to it.
When you say it belongs to the NZ public, can you just clarify what you mean by that, as opposed to any other event?
Yeah, sure. It's what's the right word for this? It's the showcase event. It's the main event in the New Zealand disc golf, and I'm talking about the organisation there, calendar. Okay, it's the landmark keystone kind of event for them, right?
Yeah. And well, technically that event is owned by NZDG.
Yeah. Okay.
Under their writing.
And the NZDG is an organisation that's made up of all of the New Zealand disc golfers and is supported and paid for by all of the people who enter sanctioned New Zealand disc golf tour events throughout the whole year. Okay. This year was slightly different in terms of the event. In the past few years, at least I can think back as 2019, the events have been appropriated to nationals, right? So last year, the Smash, which would have been an event anyway, was nationals. In 2022, it was Paradise. In 2021, it was Middle Earth. 2020, Heislander. And 2019, I think it was up in Tauranga, but I'm not sure whether that was the extreme or the, So anyway, but certainly in the last few years, it's been an event that's been going on. It's got the history and it's got the, the infrastructure behind it, and then takes on the mantle of nationals and maybe hypes their game up a touch. And I think for this event, was an event that was just nationals. It wasn't an event that was kind of appropriated to be nationals, which is, I think, something that's slightly different. So perhaps it didn't have that kind of, well, we did it last year, so a lot of that kind of stuff is already in play. And I think that some of the things that that perhaps happened was to do with that.
Well, just before we move on, I completely agree with you that Nationals is the premier event in the New Zealand scene every year, and that it should be, I suppose, prepared and presented with the caliber fitting for that sort of stature. With regards to the sort of the last part of your what you were speaking to just then, is that this event is, as you mentioned, not necessarily one that has a history of being an annual event on the program, but it has hosted some sort of comparable events of size and scale before, like the 2022 North Island Championships, which was at Ballaraka and Bethells Beach. Now, I think it probably comes as no surprise or controversy that this Nationals would have been awarded to Topor had Topor probably put their hand up for it, and no criticism at all to Topor for deciding that wasn't something that they were going to pursue. But it's my understanding that thereafter we were the only other tender who had put their hand up to host a major in the North Island, and Inglewood was the other one who kind of came to the party at one point at NZDG's request. We had initially tendered to host North Islands, not the National Championships, and then we're requested by NZDG to host Nationals, which we then accepted. So I thought that would be just some sufficient context as to how we kind of got to this point to hosting Nationals.
Yeah. I've got. How should we do this?
Well, if I could just begin just by speaking to a couple of things about Nationals, just to give people a bit of an overview for the scope and scale of the event.
Sure.
And then I'm more than happy to sort of start getting into the details, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I think everyone will appreciate that this was a particularly ambitious tournament, both in terms of the alignment with the Tour Down Under, its mission and its vision, but also the tournament in and of itself, given that it was the first tournament of its size to host at 3 distinct venues simultaneously. That we had aimed to provide a projected payout both for pros and amateurs that would have exceeded any other event before it by sort of some significance. And that it was going to be hosted at 3 venues, 2 of which were not golf courses or on council property, which meant that the maintenance of those venues was effectively left up to us as the tournament organisers and operators, and also that 2 of those courses were brand new and built specifically to host this event. So those 2 components, I think, in and of themselves indicate that there was a pretty significant undertaking that is not typical of a nationals event. We've had obviously nationals at 2 golf courses over the last 2 years, which I think is probably like not a bad way to go about it, because it does take a lot of effort, I think, to upkeep a course that's not a golf course to host an event of this size and scale.
Henry, do you think, in just looking back on things in hindsight, maybe taking on nationals at these properties was a bit too much of an undertaking?
I don't think the issue is the properties. I think the issue in relation to this event is that I, in my capacity as the TD, Simon in his capacity as the assistant TD, took on far more than we could chew, both with regards to the Tour Down Under contribution and also the Nationals contribution, and attempting to do those 2 things simultaneously.
Yeah, just thinking back to last week, I think that's basically what I was touching on, was the fact that you've got all these events that are so amazing, and there's so much going on with them, and you're overseeing all of it. But then you've got this one event, nationals or not nationals, you've got this one event that you and Simon both need to focus on. And that was kind of where my question was directed. Do you just think, I guess you did answer it, that it might have been a slight undertaking to try and take on a major event, nationals or not, whilst all of this is going on. And I want to put it out there that I think you guys did a tremendous job as well, because nationals is, I've never run nationals, and I can only just imagine the amount of stress and work that goes into that. In my background. So I commend you for everything you guys did. I just personally think that it just fell a wee bit short, and everything else you've done outside of that has been amazing.
Thanks. Look, I really appreciate that, and I think the feedback that we've received has kind of reflected that too, and that there's been some genuine criticism of nationals, which I feel is kind of warranted and fair. But I also think that that's been buffered by that some people have also added to their feedback that they appreciate the extent of the effort that's been required to get nationals, Bottle Lake, and the Tour Down Under, as well as our contribution to Taupo and Paradise all up to speed, and that I think they sort of respect that, we have been stretched pretty thin, and that there's an element of some of those duties and responsibilities having sort of not been fulfilled to the quality that we would like to, or that we at least had hoped to under the Tour Down Under kind of brand. So, but look, regardless, I still think that we put on a pretty good effort with nationals. We had those venues prepared and ready to go. As I mentioned earlier, Ballaraka was looking in amazing shape, particularly given that 1 year prior there was a once in a century flood that absolutely ravaged the property and put silt and all sorts of shit onto a good half of the fairways, which had all been cleared. And by the time nationals came around, it was looking like the Bella of old. We also had some challenges with some of our other venues in terms of their availability for practice, and a few other things. We still paid out a pretty amazing prize pool, and that in particular our amateur players received more than as close to 200% of the value of their entry fee across players' packs and amateur prizes, which I think was pretty exciting to do. And then our professional players received anywhere from 130 to 160% in entry fee value. So, we didn't anticipate the numbers that we had hoped to with entrance, but it was still pretty good, we think.
Yeah, all of the payouts. If anyone in the show isn't aware, all of the payouts are available on the PDGA websites for any event that you go to that's sanctioned by the PDGA. You can go to pdga.com/whatever tournament you went to, or just Google the tournament. Check out all the purses for amateur and pro divisions. I don't think anyone really, other than a little bit of nitpicking, had too much issue with any payout. I think the main thing that I've seen from feedback to the show and also just online, it doesn't take too much searching. We know what the disc golf community is like; they're pretty vocal online. Just comes down to actually getting an event up to the standard of A, B, C tier, whatever you're running. I think that's what it's more been geared towards, and at least you understand where maybe some shortcomings were, but you also understand where you guys absolutely strived and killed it. So commend you on that. And next year, 2025, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can put forward for a major event like this one.
Yeah,
as the tournament director.
Yeah, look, I don't think I'm going to be in a position to be the tour director, the tournament director, the assistant tournament director of Bottle Lake, and the managing director of Winnow all at once next year. So I think I'll be able to wear one of those hats pretty well and not all four.
Because it's pretty fun wearing multiple hats, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Well, you would know, you've done lots of pretty amazing things up and down the country over the years and tried to wear as many hats as you can at once. But I think, appreciate that it's not sustainable.
100%. No, 100%. It's not.
Yeah, but look, this is our first real crack at trying to do all of these things at once, and I think we're learning a lot, and we've already made some steps to expand our team in advance. Oh, Morgan's gone. He's back again. To expand our operation and our team and our volunteer base in advance of next year, which I think will make a pretty significant impact on just what type of event experience I think the Tour Down Under can offer, both for all players really. I keep jumping in and out. Can you guys hear me all right? Or am
you're good on you're good on my end. Yep.
Can you not hear me?
Still okay? Yeah. No,
you're on my end.
You're coming in and out. I think we've got you back.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's fair. And all I would say. Do you actually have you got your eye on Nationals being part of the Tour Down Under next year as well?
Hold on, I can't really hear you very well. Can you just repeat that question?
Yeah. Have you got your eye on Nationals being part of the Tour Down Under next year?
No, I think it was noted in last week's show that, or suggested in last week's show that that part of the Tour Down Under's partnership with NZDG included some sort of exclusivity over Nationals, but that's not the case. And I think I said that kind of early on in one of the conversations that we had, is that NZDG are I suppose a member-based organisation, and those members are both associated with the Tour Down Under and also not. And so I think it would be really unreasonable for the Tour Down Under to sort of have some sort of exclusivity over presenting majors or nationals or any of the above. So it might be the case that Nationals is not a part of the tour next year, but it might be the case that it is. So we'll just see how that plays out. I think how what happens kind of next year with the Tour Under, we'll still continue to work really closely with NZDG to promote the game as part of the world. But I don't think that, as I mentioned before, that doesn't sort of necessitate having a major as part of the tour program.
I think did that come across all right on your end, Matt?
It was a little bit. It's a little bit in and out. It's a little bit.
Henry is in an absolutely stunning.
Let me jump on my phone.
Henry's in Bob's Cove, just sort of southwest or west of Queenstown right now. One of the most iconic and legendary spots all around the area, but it comes with slightly below par Wi-Fi, which, to be fair, in those parts is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think he's going to switch to his to a different device. So we'll try him when Henry. Just give us a thumbs up when you're ready to come back in.
Great.
Yeah, look. So it's pretty. it's pretty clear that yeah, it was quite a lot to quite a big undertaking, and there was a lot of things that that people have come to me and said, "Yeah, where's my umbrella?" And there's some things wrong with the tea pads. There was the thing about the orchard toilets, which maybe Henry can comment on as well when we get him back. Those were the kind of things that came back to me, and also I think we might have him back.
Oh, he's on two devices.
Hang on a second.
Can you hear me now?
We can. Just give me a second to put you on the screen.
Just to make the lighting quite nice, I'm actually going to go a bit recumbent here. And
there we go. He's in the bunk beds.
Let's get comfy. Oh,
no, there we
that's
go.
better.
That is,
why are we doing this sitting in chairs? Why don't we just do the sort of lounging together? This is quite nice.
Oh, I'm on the couch. You know.
Yeah, you've got the right.
You've got to be comfortable.
Maybe you could switch up the studio a little bit, get a little sofa in there.
I do. I need like a futon or something in the back.
Yeah.
So there was most of the feedback I had, Henry, that came through from me, seemed to be quite niggly things, which if they were on their own, probably wouldn't have made any kind of difference. But because they were quite, there was a few of them, I think they kind of built up to a bit of frustration around the event. I don't know whether you can talk to any of these. In the lead up to Nationals, one of the things that was advertised about the players packs was that you were going to get an umbrella, a tore down under umbrella, which for a lot of people probably looked very good. They look pretty smart, and I dare say that there may have been a few people who attended the event and deliberately didn't take their umbrella, on the understanding that they'd pick one up in their players pack the day before or whatever. Did that event? How did that eventuate? Because I heard some things that they weren't available at the time.
Yeah. So, well, the umbrellas were, funnily enough, one of the things that we felt we were most prepared for, which is that we ordered those from our supplier in would have been August or September, and the expected delivery time on those was that they were going to arrive in late November. That shipment got stuck in Hong Kong in a port for about 7 or 8 weeks.
Oh.
Due to some, I don't know, I think it was strikes or something or other. But we had anticipated that those would continue to arrive in a timely fashion in order for us to have them in time for the. But ever so slowly, the due date for that shipment's arrival in New Zealand would be pushed out about 3 or 4 days at a time, to the point where at the day before the event, it was expected that they would arrive at the RPM warehouse that afternoon, and then it was only until late in that evening that it was understood that they weren't going to arrive in time for the event. They did end up arriving the day after the tournament finished, which was
that figures.
Yeah,
which was just
what a stitch up.
Yeah, what a massive stitch up. So, but we've distributed some information this week to advise all of those players as to how we're distributing the umbrellas. They can collect them now from various points of contacts in each of the regions around the country. We'll also be taking umbrellas to notable events around the country in order to link up with players from Nationals. And for players who can't make it to either the pickup locations or to the mentioned in the email that was distributed yesterday, we'll be couriering them out to them directly. So I think this, and there were a few other things that were at play over the weekend that were a bit out of our control, which is a shame. And I appreciate that impacts the player experience to a degree, but I also sense that there's a degree of understanding from the competitors that weekend that, there's not a lot really we can do on some of these fronts to remedy those errors in time for the event, but we can do what as much as we possibly can after the event to try and make those things right, like we're doing in the case of the umbrellas. Another sort of point on this matter was that we had originally planned a banquet dinner at Redwood Park Golf Club on the Monday night after the third round. And 2 days prior to the event, the Redwood Park staff called us and said, "Hey, look, we've had some staffing shortages.
and we're going to have to cancel the banquet dinner that we scheduled with you earlier, 2 days prior to the event.
Ooh.
So then I mad scrambled 2 food trucks to get to Ballaraka for the Saturday night party, and we effectively rolled in that banquet offering into the food truck offering that was there on Saturday. So that was obviously incredibly stressful and frustrating to come to the forefront so late in the picture. And then I think but there were some real genuine, I think, shortcomings of Nationals. And I think most of those can be attributed to a lack of volunteers and staff on site at the event. So, for example, we didn't have sufficient officials particularly at the event site where our intermediate and novice players were playing throughout the weekend. We were able to get some support there from our friends at Fortica, particularly Martin Galley, who stepped up late to support us in that capacity as the kind of official starter for those amateur players on days 3 and 4. But we had a couple of people who had indicated that they would support us in a volunteer capacity, and then either didn't turn up to postings or decided late in the picture that they were not going to make a contribution, which was a shame. In saying that, though, there were times throughout the weekend where we had a really great presence of volunteers, and particularly in some of our side events, and those went off without a hitch. Hole-in-one party, for instance, which was at Redwoods Park on Sunday night, was superb. We had some great volunteers from the Park Rangers Club in Auckland, and also from the NZDG kind of crew to support us through that event. So that was superb. And then I think there's a few other things that sort of popped up in the conversation last week, which were partly misconceptions, but also partly some things that I think some additional context would maybe provide some people with, I don't know, assurance around why the conditions were as they were. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I think we need to discuss is in relation to the bathroom situation, which has been discussed about quite significantly in the chat. There were flushing portaloos stationed at every event location. The one at the Orchard was positioned immediately outside the event entrance. The one at Ballaraka was positioned in the middle of the course to the right of the driveway, and then we had flushing toilets on site, which were actually built into the course at Redwoods. So those were clearly communicated to the players in the players' handbook, and there's some indicators on the site maps for each of those event sites to show where those portaloos were positioned. If you haven't been to the Orchard course's terrain is relatively comparable to Waitawa or the open sections of Paradise, in that it's undulating, it's not very it's sort of tenable to go down there in certain types of vehicles. And so I had contacted about half a dozen portaloo companies to try and get an additional portaloo at the Orchard to be stationed in the middle of the course. But all of them had refused to take down any sort of equipment or portaloo or anything for that matter into the middle of the course. It was suggested in the comments of the show last week that we weren't actually allowed to take a portaloo on site, and that the site owner had prevented us from doing that. That's not the case. The site owner had allowed us to do pretty much anything we wanted to that property, and would have encouraged us to take a portaloo down, but the portaloo hire companies wouldn't allow us to do that. And in fact, they don't allow anybody to take the portaloo any further than 12 metres away from a paved road. So taking that down to the middle of the course was not an option. So we therefore installed a composting toilet in the middle of the course, which was provided to players for emergency use only, and that we had this flushing portaloo as the primary point for people to use a bathroom if they needed to at the event. So I think there was some pretty significant kind of criticism around the situation at the Orchard, which wasn't warranted. But I also think that I also appreciate that venue doesn't necessarily allow for the most optimal toileting situation. So that the remedy that was provided is, not exactly the Ritz-Carlton, but it certainly provided people with an emergency option if need be.
I like that. Not quite the Ritz-Carlton. That's
Yep.
a good one. So Henry, I think that there's a number of these things that are very much explainable. Not even explainable is not even the right word. Like you guys have obviously put in a hell of a lot of effort to get these things across the line and make it as best as possible. I think the majority of the things that I've seen are just more shortcomings of what is required by an A tier rather than what people want. It's more of the requirement side of things. I think that's probably the biggest thing that stuck out to me. And I haven't spent a great deal of time sort of going over everything. It's just what I have seen online on Sweet Chain's message page and a couple of messages here and there. But I think moving forward, this is going to give you you're absolutely going to understand what you're going to need to do next year, and it's going to be a full 12 months of build up to make sure all of these things are going to happen next year, if I'm right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got an extra 6 months this year to prepare for the season, as opposed to last year where we began the Tour Down Under kind of sprint middle of the season. And in addition to that, we don't have to do, as much of the startup sort of components of the Tour Down Under brand and web presence market that we were required to do last year in order to get this thing off the ground. So that's going to kind of kick us into high gear in terms of focusing on a few other things that are going to, develop the Tour Down Under's kind of brand and experience and influence further, which is exciting. And in addition to that, we've had some people here that have had amazing experiences and will express that they've had amazing experiences. They're going home, whether it be around the country and across New Zealand or overseas back to Aussie and the US, who, from our understanding, are raving about their time here in New Zealand. And I think that will translate into some more people coming to join us in New Zealand next season, and more events like the caliber of Topor. So, look, we've learnt a lot, and it's been a little funny, I think, to hear some of the feedback we've received. Like I said before, as the tournament director, I take full responsibility for some of the shortcomings of nationals, but I also think that there's a degree of I don't know if nitpicking is the right kind of word, because we really do want to be presenting the absolute premier possible event experience that anyone's experienced in New Zealand. Oh, sorry, lost my train of thought.
That's right. What I will say, sorry to interrupt. We'll try and get that train of thought going again. What I have really noticed is the top guys, the pros from New Zealand, from the States, even the guys from MDG in Belgium. Obviously, Maxime was playing in the two tournaments there. They felt really, really, really well catered for, and that's very visible and awesome. Have we had the same sort of response from the amateurs? Because 95 to 99% of New Zealanders is amateurs. I guess that's sort of my only question. And I guess we also, you and I and Matt on the show, God knows how many months ago now, when TDU sort of first came to life, that was one of my questions was, are we catering for the amateur divisions and the lower down divisions here in New Zealand? Because these are our people. Do you feel like we've catered to everyone here?
Well, I think in many ways we have. I think the top event certainly did. They put on an event experience that was supreme for all competitors, pro, amateur, junior, novice. Everybody there had a fantastic time. I think we'd say the same thing about Bottle Lake, and that we had a specialised short layout for our intermediate and junior novice players. And all of the amateur players at Bottle Lake received a players pack, which was almost double the value of their event entry. So that was a pretty sensational value contribution to those players.
Do you think they're... sorry, my PC's just running out of battery. I thought it was plugged in. Do you think, like player packs and money aside, do you think their experience was up there with the same level as all the pros were getting?
Well, I don't know that there's much of a difference at those two events in terms of the player experience between the pros and the amateurs. In fact, I think the amateur experience is potentially heightened. All of the players in both of those tournaments were announced on the tee from the very first card every day, round 1, 2, and 3. We had obviously significant player packs and payouts and everything contributed. They both played the same course, so there wasn't a difference in terms of course offering at those events. And well, I mean, we had a short layout and a long layout, but I think you get what I mean. They were both sort of privy to the same type of side event experience with the Idio Sports Coaching Clinic, the GK Pro Skins experiences, the Uplay Community Connect clinics. We had the hole-in-one party at Topor, which was again fantastic as it was last year. We had another hole-in-one party at Bottle 8, which was fantastic for about 30 minutes until the wind kicked in, which was a real shame. So that kind of called that party off a little bit early, but it was humming there for a while. So yes, I do think that those two events were great and provide pretty comparable, if not even sort of experience for our amateur players. With regards to nationals, I do think there were some shortcomings that meant that maybe some trade-offs that meant that the amateur experience at nationals wasn't up to the caliber that I personally would like.
The only reason I asked that is because I feel like 90%, if not more, of the comments that I have seen, negative or positive, are actually coming from the amateur sort of side of things rather than the pros. Everything I've heard from the pros has been bang on and killed it.
Sure. There's a couple of things we need to remember about nationals, and that one is that we built a course specifically catered for amateur players to compete on at nationals. Originally, when we had announced the course assignments for nationals, we had the amateur players playing round 1 and 4 at Bethel's Beach, which is a permanent course which has already been installed. And there was a bit of kickback in terms of mostly from players who are here in Auckland about whether or not Bethel's Beach was a suitable venue for nationals and whether that would offer those players a good value for money at an event like nationals. So, about 3 months prior to the event, we got permission from the venue to install a new course in there, and so we put a tremendous amount of time into installing what was a great course, which received really good feedback generally. So we were really pleased with that. We also offered amateur players an opportunity to trial that course 2 weeks prior with the help of some volunteers here in Auckland, Tim Marshall and Mike Foley, who helped us to host a for nationals as a warm-up. So that was great. The Auckland club members supported us in putting on a couple of practice round twilight nights in the weeks prior to nationals. So that was again great. I think the shortcomings, if we can just touch on those specifically with nationals, was that, like I said before, we didn't have enough staff to provide those amateurs with that type of heightened experience that we would like to at nationals. And so we would have liked to have enough staff to ensure that the details were covered, having players announced every day on the tee at nationals, having some spotters where it's possible, ensuring that water stations were properly filled up without requiring one of the players to notify the TDs that it needed to be filled up. That did happen on occasions, and they were promptly filled. But again, that should be an obligation of the event staff to ensure that those stations are properly filled, as opposed to.
I'll give you a little support on that one, and this is a message to everyone that's in the chat, all of you players. Water stations are there to support you for when you have shortcomings. Everyone, when you go to an event, you guys should have enough liquid and hydration and snacks in your bag to cater for you for a whole event. It's 18 holes. It's not 3 days out there, so please remember that. TDs are trying their best to get water out there and to keep you hydrated, but please go out with 1-2 drink bottles to keep you going for a whole round. These are just extra bits and pieces. They're not mandatory. That's a public service announcement to all you players.
So I think in summary, then I think what the feeling is that that the pros were very well catered for, and perhaps the AMs there was some shortcomings. Henry, thank you for your honesty about that and for providing that extra context. And that there were some things which were that fell short because it was such a massive undertaking for yourself and the smaller number of people that you had working with you and for you. So thank you very much for your honesty there. I do want to move on. There's a couple of quite more general Tour Down Under questions that I've got that I'll come to, but I do want to read this email that I've been sent. Okay, so here it goes. Being the Tour Down Under's first year and considering the high pressure involved, 4 large-scale events in 4 weeks from Auckland to Paradise, the organisers have done a very impressive job. I don't think many people quite understand the effort goes into delivering these events in such a short time frame to the standard expected. It's an incredible feat, and the organisers should be congratulated. The media reach for New Zealand Disc Golf has been incredible. 466k total views on GK Pro videos alone, and having been to Bottle Lake, the event experience was easily in the top 5 tournaments I've been to. I can't speak directly for the other events, but as a viewer, they appeared professional. And to be frank, that's what matters when presenting New Zealand to the world and attracting top talent or other visitors to our country. Sadly, the most critical voices are always the loudest. And to be honest, I think a lot of the feedback I've seen and heard presents an overly aggressive and malicious. To be honest, I think a lot of the feedback I've seen and heard are overly aggressive and malicious, which is completely out of line and unfair. There is a difference between critique, positive and encourages improvement, and criticism, negative and brings people down. In the 7 years I've been involved with New Zealand Disc Golf, I've never seen a tournament series subject to such ridiculous scrutiny and public criticism before, by people who should be celebrating and enjoying the sport we all want to see grow. All this is done to show the true colours of those people. It is unreasonable, childish, and frankly embarrassing. Not every experience will live up to everyone's expectations, and people don't get everything right. It's not just humanly possible. I'm sure that there will be discussions where shortcomings will be identified and ironed out, and future events can only get better. No matter what your perspective on the events, and despite whatever issues may have arisen, Henry is obviously passionate about the game and showcasing New Zealand to the world. Still early days, and the tour has done an admirable job for the first attempt. Well done. That was an email that I got sent. It was sent. They didn't put their name on the email. I'm feeling I know who it is, but that's by the by. It was an anonymous email sent to me. So look, I think it's. I think that that's kind of the feedback from that person, and look, I think that the Tour Down Under has done a good job for showcasing New Zealand to the world. And certainly some of the coverage that we've seen has been great. And I have to say, I am really, really glad Levi won. Can I just say,
good.
I don't think it would have. I'm really, really pleased that result came in. Sorry, Luke, if you're watching, I am really, really pleased that he won, because I think it goes to show that the quality of the talent that exists here, and so that's something. We'll get to the full results of Bottle Lake shortly.
Yeah, I mean, Levi shows us that it's possible. We can do this.
That's right.
Yeah, Levi's been sticking it to the, which has been pretty cool. And Matt, thanks for reading out that email, and thanks, I suppose, to the person sending in that email. It has been a huge effort to get the Tour Down Under kind of going this year, and I do appreciate messages like the one that you read out that sort of speak to the extent of the effort that's been kind of attempted to be put in. And I fully accept that there are some shortfalls associated with the tour and the events and all the above, but all in all, I think that we've made a pretty significant impact on setting up the country for being a staple for the promotion of disc golf in years to come, and the influence that I think the Tour Down Under and other entities around the country are doing in terms of hosting and running events is going to make a monumental impact on growing, I suppose, the piece of the pie for everybody in the country, whether it be as a player and what you might expect to get out of an event, whether it be as a retailer and just how many customers you can work with and attract to your store or your website, whether it be as an event host and how many people in your region might be interested in competing at events. Everybody's going to get a chance, I think, to make the most out of all of the I suppose the improvements and effort and enhancement that the promotion of the game over the last wee while has sort of started to kick into gear, and who knows what will happen next season. It'll be pretty exciting. So, but yeah, thanks for reading that out. I appreciate it.
No worries. There are a lot of questions in the chat, and I think I'm missing quite a few. It'll probably be, and I know we have been over some of this. If you wouldn't mind just scrolling back through and taking a few out there. There actually isn't even a comment at the bottom there why I ask the questions if you're not going to answer any. Marone, sorry. There's obviously a lot going on in the chat tonight. I will kick things off actually by scrolling down to one that just poked its nose out to me. Breakfast Bacon, first off. Great name. Love it. Some of this seems super nitpicky. No. Am I being crazy here? Hope we have a ton of willing TDs out there that are going to be put through the ringer like this. Now, first of all, there are not a lot of TDs in New Zealand. We would love to see more of you guys step up and run events because it is a hell of a job. Henry has been putting his absolute butt on the line to put all of this together. Myself and all the other TDs in New Zealand put in so much work, so you're right. Being put through the ringer is rough. And when you say some of this seems super nitpicky, no. Well, this is the show. This is the show where we get to talk about the things that have happened in the previous weeks and upcoming things. We get to be the mouthpiece for you. The comments are in the chat. We get to speak on your behalf on the show. So everything that's actually been through the show is something that's either been messaged to us, something we've seen, and we're only trying to relay that information and talk it through in an adult manner. We don't mean to be trying to run over anyone. Henry here, I hope you understand that as well, my friend. I think you've done an absolutely fantastic job, and we don't need to go over any shortcomings at all anymore, because I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Paradise plays out, because that's one of the best courses out there. Breakfast Bacon, if you could send me a private message, I'd love to know who you are, and maybe we can make you a TD as well, because we need more of you out there.
And in terms of I'd like to just answer that comment as well about how it seems super nitpicky, and I'll refer back to the comments I made at the beginning of this, which were that this is nationals, right? And so I think it's fair, personally, to be nitpicky, and because I think over time it helps, right? I think it helps to be nitpicky, and I think it overall goes to helping improve areas of tournaments that are being offered. That's not to say that I'm not sat here saying that I'm doing a better job than any tournament director out there. I've run very few tournaments, and so it's not something that I'm gonna claim to be very good at. But I think it's right to be nitpicky, especially, or perhaps at this stage exclusively, on nationals. We haven't been nitpicky on any things which perhaps were shortcomings at Taupo or perhaps were shortcomings at Bowl Lake. We haven't commented on that. Really, it's nationals because it's nationals, and I think that's there. Ethan says, should we get nitpicky about the Elite Series? Absolutely, I think we should.
Yes,
I think
please do.
It's about, that's exactly what the improvement's about. I hope nobody thinks that this is being taken. Anyone thinks it's been taken personally here. I mean, no comments that I've made that I'm aware of been directed at anybody personally. It's merely either a retransmission of a comment that's come to me, or a comment on what's happened, and not towards anybody in particular. So I think, yeah. And look, Scott makes a great point. Henry, the Southern Smash did you no favors last year.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a great. Yeah, they did so well.
they did you no favors. And so look, if that's the standard that gets put down, that's the kind of standard that people will start comparing to. So I think that overall it's a good thing to have robust conversations where, in the cases of important events, and in my view, the Nationals is one, that we can be nitpicky, and I don't think we should apologise for it.
Yeah, I mean that's also what the show's here for. Do you know what I mean, guys? We can't just come up every week and just talk about the positives of everything that happened every week. It just is what it is. Nothing's ever perfect. No event that I've ever run has ever been perfect. I get feedback on every single one of them. There's event feedback forms for every event that I run, and trust me, there's negatives in there.
Yeah,
there's always negatives in there, and we use those to build onto what we can do next year. And as I said maybe 15 minutes ago, I guarantee Henry comes back next year and absolutely kills it.
Yeah, we're going to rush it next year. So
yeah.
So I've got someone here who's going to join us in a moment. But just before I do pass on to him, I think that it's completely fair to get into the details of these event operations and tournaments, and I suppose attempt to refine what it means to host a truly high quality event. And so I don't think that some of the conversations that have been had on this show necessarily, or anywhere else for that matter, about the events have been perhaps unreasonable in relation to the event logistics and operations, and that, I suppose in order to get to a truly remarkable event, the devil is really in the details. So it makes sense to kind of dot your I's and cross your T's. But maybe from another perspective, I have sort of noticed that there's been a very small subset of the disc golf community that has appeared at times to maybe take every opportunity they could to demean the Tour Down Under product or experience or otherwise, and I don't think that it's particularly healthy for the development of our game in the country, and that might be down to some political component being infused into the sport, which is a bit of a shame. But I think the vast majority of people are really excited about the development of the game on all fronts at all times of the year here in New Zealand, whether it be under the Tour Down Under banner, under the NZDG banner, under the Elite Series banner, under an event not associated with each of those three things. So we're on the up and up, I think. And look, any, I suppose, discussion or contribution to the conversation around how to make better events is a good one, but to do that in a way that is maybe to specifically undermine the mission or the vision of any of those entities is really harmful. But look, I've got someone here who's standing in the wings who might want to chat to you, so I'm going to hand over.
Well, sure. And as he's handing over, I'll just say this is the place for these chats, guys, and it'd be absolutely remiss of us if we didn't chat about all facets and all sides of things going on. Now, I'm excited to see who's hiding in the shadows. Is that a Mr. Corey Ellis?
I think it's a silhouette of Corey Ellis.
Sorry, it's so dark, guys.
Can we get a light on your face, maybe?
You might have to jump into that bunk bed there, my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
Perhaps I will.
Get yourself comfortable.
Here we go. Is that better?
Hey,
that's better. That's better. Good evening, Corey. Great to have you back. How have you been?
Getting better every day.
Yeah.
Just been working with Jake with some physical therapy stuff, and it's really it's looking good so far. I'm gonna try and throw some tomorrow and see how I feel to play this weekend. But there's no guarantee on anything yet. Just been trying to take it easy and relax and enjoy this beautiful country.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. You're definitely relaxing and enjoying the country is going to be the aim of the game down in Paradise with the side disc golf.
Just talk us through, for anybody who didn't see what happened. I think it was partway through the first round.
Well, so it actually started during the national championships. I just started having a little pain on my right side where my plant, where I plant with throwing backhand. And sidearm doesn't really hurt at all, but it was just getting a little sore. And if you go back and watch the very first shot of round 1 of the final round, you can see me release way early on the shot I was trying to throw, and it hits a limb and almost goes out of bounds or whatever. But that's when I initially felt the pain,
Right.
and that's why it came out quite early. But I just kind of, sucked it up and got in the zone and forgot about it. The pain's pretty much not there whenever I'm walking around or anything like that. That's why I felt good enough to caddy for Levi that last round. So it's really only when I'm planting and throwing where I have any type of pain.
Well, hopefully you can shed some of that pain and feel just at least well enough to play some disc golf down in Paradise this weekend. That's something you just said. There's something I'd love to touch on. You caddied for Levi. What's your thoughts on this young man? He's killing it.
He's absolutely killing it. And to be honest, I would take him with me on tour in the States if I could in a heartbeat. But I know he's going to go to school, and he should stick to that for sure. I mean, I know he's listening.
He's in the chat.
And he showed serious poise under pressure, and it was very impressive. And I just tried to, help what I could just by feeding him positive thoughts and reminding him to breathe.
Yeah.
And the kid's good.
Yeah, for sure. I've been around Levi for quite a number of years now. I don't live in the same town as him, but obviously we play a lot of disc golf tournaments together. And I sat down here with Maxime and the team from MDG last night, and we were watching some of the Taupo coverage. And just coming down the stretch there on the back nine of the final round, I could see that he was a little bit nervous, coming into it with the opportunity to be right there with you. And it's not actually something I've ever seen from him before. But even within that, I've seen him really holding it together and looking poised and very professional. And I was super proud of him and New Zealand even to be battling it out with you in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoy playing golf with the kid, and I hope I get to play with him this weekend. But on a more important note, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of perspective from my side of things on what I've seen on the banter, so to speak, about nationals. And I just want to try and stay as in the middle of everything as I possibly can. And I don't want anyone to take anything that I'm about to say the wrong way. I'm just giving you the perspective from me. And I hope you guys remember that. So I think as you guys as a country have so much potential in the sport of disc golf, and it's a shame to see people fighting other people who are clearly trying to just grow the sport as a whole in your country for the better. And I think that whoever these people may be or whoever they are, I don't know them personally, but I think that everyone needs to come together the best they can to help push the sport forward instead of shooting yourself in the foot by making, assumptions about whatever it is. And I think that obviously there's room to improve. Just watching Henry and Simon not have the group of people that they need to delegate some of the efforts that they could to make everything better, to have, you know, people announcing people for the AMs and things of that nature. I think it's only going to get better, and I just want to see New Zealand disc golf grow for the better. And all this is just from an outside perspective. And yeah, overall, I think the tournament was ran great. I've seen a lot of disc golf. I've played 250 tournaments. Jim and Juliana obviously have tenfold what I have in experience, and I know that they agree with me that that was a very professional ran event, at least for our side of it. It honestly was up there with some of the pro tours that I've played in, and yeah, I just want to see you guys get bigger and better. So
Yeah, there's a number of people behind the scenes on different fronts that are absolutely putting in so much work to make that happen, Corey. There's obviously a lot more things behind the scenes that you would ever probably know, hear about, or see. But from all sides, everyone's working so hard. And me personally, I absolutely appreciate Henry and Simon's efforts for what they're doing. Yeah, it can only mean good things. I mean, you're currently sat in the same town as me, so that speaks volumes.
Do you think you coming back next year?
Oh, without a doubt. I'm going to try and bring as many pros as I can. You know, it's been an amazing time, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. If I can make it happen, I absolutely will be here.
Fantastic to hear that.
How do you find the 4 tournaments kind of back to back? That's not something that you encounter too often during the regular season.
Well,
or is it? I mean, not.
It was such a quick turnover from Topol to Nationals to Bottle Lake that, you know, I only got one day off between there. And, you know, I could obviously let my body rest if I chose to, but I wanted to get practice on the courses. And ultimately, that's my decision that I made. And I think that I've already talked to Simon about ideas about how to you know, space it out a little bit. And hopefully that will come to fruition. But I would definitely try to have like a week in between events. Maybe start it a bit earlier. That way it gives people time, maybe even to come a little earlier, like just after Christmas, or even if people want to spend their holidays here, it would be lovely, you know, because it's summertime and beautiful here when it's cold where we're from, you know.
Yeah, I guess that's the hard one coming out during Christmas, and that's the time where everyone, especially you guys in your off season with families and that, is probably the biggest ask, the tallest order, getting by that one. But yeah, you're probably right. I think just for the physicality, the mental health, and all of that, a little bit of time between each one, and I guarantee these guys are going to take that on board, and yeah, we're going to see a hell of a tour next year.
Yeah, for sure. I've got someone here that I think we could probably just join in together if you want.
Sure. Jump on him.
There we go.
How we doing?
Oh, Mr. Perkins, how are you, sir?
Hey guys.
Hey, long time no see, my friend. How are you?
I'm really well. Good to see you, Morgan. And who's your co-host?
This is Matt. He is the head host. I'm the co-host.
Hey Matt.
Hey. So Nate, you came back this year. Obviously, you were here last year for nationals and for a few other events. Look, you've had chance to play in a fair few different places now. What's been your kind of highlights of your time in New Zealand altogether?
Yeah, I honestly, the highlights are kind of the natural beauty of the country. I would say. I think that's the primary reason that I returned, was to just dive into the Alps down here on the South Island, and the cold water plunging in the rivers, and the highlight from the golf side of thing, I think Topah at Spa Park. I really feel like that's one of the best venues that I've seen here in New Zealand, as far as being able to host a DGPT kind of caliber event. And that's actually one of the reasons why I'm hopping on here, and I'll segue into that. Is I've been an employee for the Disc Golf Network for the past few seasons now, and one of the reasons why I returned here was to kind of scope out a potential site. The Disc Golf Pro Tour plans to do a potential DGBT international series, and they really hope to include Australia, New Zealand, a potential event in Asia. And so Jeff Spring at the Pro Tour is really just saying, hey, go down there, check it out, see what venue has the potential, what club might have the potential to host one of these big events, and bring the live broadcast here, and hopefully bring all the pros here as well.
Fantastic. That is super exciting to hear. Very exciting.
Very much so.
Sorry, just because how you said that, my mind just went a little. You said Australia, New Zealand, anywhere else in the South Pacific area?
Well, so it's really undetermined right now. I think they have their sights set on a 2025 international series. They've recently expanded into Europe, and they have the whole DGPT Euro Tour is now DGPT branded, and they hope to have their own international series. And so I think it's really up to the different locations to say, hey, we're ready to host an event. Like we can raise the money, we have the course, like we can help accommodate some of the tour. So I think that if a place, let's just say a club and a course on the North Island put in a pitch to the Pro Tour, then a club and a course on the South Island put in a pitch. There's nothing saying that both of them can't work, and that we can't do other places in Oceania outside of New Zealand.
I'll have my fingers crossed for Topah.
Excellent.
I think I've got a lot of time for the guys up there. They do. I can't echo your comments enough there, and they do a great job. What's been in terms of the play, your own play this year, looking to bounce back at Paradise?
Yeah, I've been out of the competitive scene for a bit. I've kind of devoted a little bit more of my time to disc golf media. And so while I still have that competitive fire in me, I feel like I'd have to play pretty out of body to like take down a competitor like Corey, who's like really just in the heart of his prime, and is living and breathing disc golf like competitions every day. So it's not impossible, but I'm just thankful to be out here throwing discs again. I'm healthy. I'm able to like throw forehands hard, and I'm making a lot of putts right now, so I'm having as much fun with it as I've ever had. And so these events are more of like a treat for me to just really take in a disc golf competition. And I'm not so much like, I'm trying not to live and die on the results as much anymore, and just really enjoy it, and enjoy getting to play with a competitor like Corey and Levi and Jacko, and just a lot of great individuals. I'm really getting to soak up that I get to play with.
Just speaking on individuals, there's one man that we seem to praise, absolutely praise on the show. Just wondering if you've run into him and seen him play. He's only been playing for just over a year. Johnny Wake.
Yeah, it's the lefty.
That's right.
I've never even met him. I just praised the heck out of him on those results.
Yeah.
Tall guy, lefty, arborist.
Yeah. Where I played, I believe I played a competitive round with him. I believe I played with him in Topah, and just annihilating the disc. You know, just totally turning his body and getting around that disc, ripping it, and great spirit, great attitude. And it's, you know, I was shocked to find out that he had only played for a year.
Yeah, that absolutely resonates with me and makes me not like him as much as I like him, without even meeting him.
I've only heard good things about him. I don't know if we've met or not. I feel like I've met so many people since I've been here. It's hard to keep track of everybody. But I hope I can get to play around with him, because I've heard he's a great guy.
There you go. Well, shout out to you, Johnny. You're the man.
Absolutely. Look, so first up, Disc Golf Pro Tour 2025 International Series. That sounds incredibly exciting. We'll be listening out for more details as they come through, and also encouraging anybody who feels that they've got the inclination to put their hand up and say, look, I can do this, to do it, and to reach out, because I think what's become evident is that it takes big teams of people to get this kind of stuff done, and so the combination of clubs coming together to provide a larger volunteer and kind of employee pool, if you like, could well be the way to do it, and maybe it wouldn't be so bad to have a North Island bid and a South Island bid where all the clubs come together, and put a bid in and pick the course. It doesn't really matter where it is. Well, it obviously does, but you pick the best one. But you have several people from lots of the club, Wellington, Manawatu, etc., all coming together with Topol, Inglewood, etc., all coming together. Not forgetting Auckland, of course, to go right. Let's do something and pull something together that can get an even bigger reach than the pretty incredible reach we've had so far.
Yeah, I think that you're spot on with that, and I think that that's another reason why I wanted to come on here and talk with you guys, is to kind of share that same sentiment. Is that, when the back and forth between the different businesses, the Elite Series, the Tour Down Under, and it can be hard when you're in this isolated place, and you're fighting for the small pieces of the pie that we have right now in New Zealand. But the way that I see this working out long term is just everyone growing the size of that pie. Like, the more that we work together, the more pros. Like, we got a major champion, we got Corey Ellis to come play, and we got GK Pro to come film, and it doesn't matter in my mind, like, who made that happen, whether it was Tour Down Under, whether it was the Elite Series, whether it's DGS, or who it is. They're here, they're filming. It's going to grow the entire game in New Zealand. And when that happens, when more pros come, if the Disc Golf Pro Tour comes, and UPlay continues to come, and we teach kids, we teach teachers how to teach kids, and we grow this entire thing, all of these businesses are going to thrive. It's the difference between being in that scarcity mindset and being in the abundance mindset. And when we let those like barriers down, and we work together, and we put together the bid on the South Island, and we put together the bid on the North Island, and we run 2 sweet events for DGPT International, that's going to grow things exponentially here. And then we'll have GK Pro, we'll have Gatekeeper, we'll have Jomez, we'll have DGN Live, and we'll have millions of views on New Zealand disc golf. And we'll be able to sell that content, the YouTube content, the live content. We'll be able to sell that to the big brands of New Zealand. And that's when things are really going to start to light up around here. There's going to be cities that are going to be pouring money into disc golf courses, and we can start getting on track to make this country look like Finland with 1,300 courses. in this amount of land. So that's really my vision.
I like what you're saying. That might be far-fetched. Finland, I think that's its own thing.
Well,
they are crazy out there.
Well, it doesn't have to be. You've got beautiful land. You've got 5 million people. You have similar things going on. There's no reason why New Zealand can't be a disc golf hub as well. And the sooner we start believing that, the sooner we can get on that track to just have.
I absolutely agree and believe everything you're saying. I just mean Finland, all the land out there is governed. All the government owns all the land out there, and they give it to the people to be able to put courses and things on that. They're not held back by governments like ours.
All of that is exactly true of what Nate's saying, but it's going to take everyone working together here. Like that is the number one step that has to take place before the Pro Tour. Because if the Pro Tour is just seeing all like a bunch of conflict and things like that, they're just going to be like, like pull the plug. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they gotta see it working together, and I believe that you guys can do it. That's why I even want to talk about it, is because you guys are absolutely going to be able to do it, and I can't wait to come back and play on the Pro Tour here.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Okay. So what's tomorrow got lined up for you two then? Have you've got a busy day practicing, is it, or
you playing doubles or?
I'm gonna try and throw some shots and see how I feel, and we will be doing the skins just after I decide if I'm going to play or not. Mm-hmm. And I feel good right now, so I'm saying it's a strong chance. And now here we got Zoe here.
Oh, good, Zoe
and Dyke.
How are
guys?
You? How's it going?
Great.
Good to see you.
Now, last time we spoke, you were still in America, so welcome to New Zealand.
Yeah, it's so warmer.
It's been a bit of a bit non-stop for you, eh? Since you got here.
Yes. Oh, most definitely. Obviously the events have been happening. A UPlay event has happened each week, and not just one, but two. So I've been running with the pro ambassadors, the touring pros here. I've been running a train the trainers or work with the coaches for efficiency and information share on how to introduce disc golf and how to effectively teach disc golf class. And then we've worked with a youth organization that was on holiday in Taupo, and also went into Maurihe High School, just outside or in Christchurch. So that's been pretty fun. We've worked with a lot of different adults and had good reactions. UPlay has had a bunch of curriculum books purchased by local disc golf coaches, and we've been able to donate to a couple of different schools. So, and even actually share the curriculum with the Tasman Disc Golf Club. So they picked up 8 books, and they're getting ready to distribute those for free to schools. So I feel like it's been a huge success. Yeah, I definitely got a little bit tired though. I filled up my plate really full, and sometimes I do this with food where my eyes are a little bit bigger than my tummy.
We all
but
do that. Yeah.
I really
it's something
really
we can all we all know about.
But you've had a day or two to rest?
Yes, actually. It's been really good. So I actually started the event at Bottle Lake on Friday. I woke up that morning, wasn't able to, I was tired. I've been doing a lot, and that's like a Zoe thing. I don't know if I definitely didn't share this on the podcast before, but I'm working a lot for UPlay while I'm here. So I'll get up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning, run a couple of meetings, do emails, and then actually play my tournament rounds. Before the 4th round of New Zealand National Championships, I was actually on a UPlay core team meeting. We got some pretty big fish to fry and like really big special announcements and things coming out right now. And it's just not the time as an executive director to be sleeping on that stuff. So I definitely always think that I can be Superwoman and do everything, but on the way to Bottle Lake that morning, I just realized I was kind of tired, and I really wanted to take the weekend off for myself. And that was, I also have kind of a reoccurring right wrist injury from back when I did play full time. Something that the Pro Tour is really good at doing to all of us is playing like weekend after weekend. And, you know, turns out I'm not 24 anymore. I'm actually 40. And so I just wanted to listen to my body. And in 19 years of playing disc golf and playing tournaments, I've never pulled out of an event. And I am really proud of myself. It was really like scary and hard at first, but then I was really, really stoked, especially because I knew what was coming this weekend. And I knew before I got here that Paradise was it. Like, you don't miss this.
It does suck though, doesn't it, pulling out of an event. I had to do the same thing in January, and the same sort of situation, an event the following weekend, but you sort of have to think about the longevity of your tournament game and yourself. Burning the candle at both ends can be a tough thing, and we all put ourselves in that situation.
Yeah, well, and I came over here without my partner, who's Dustin Keegan, the operations manager for Uplay. And the reason we did that was so that Uplay, this is such a clutch timing for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, our partnerships with the PDGA, and we just published a secondary book. So there's just so much going on right now. And I have to be honest, what an empowering thing. I hope that a lot of my fellow pros on the Disc Golf Pro Tour will kind of see what I did. And it was hard, but then be empowered or feel that it is okay. And I think that when disc golf makes you feel like you have to do something, something's wrong. Or if disc golf makes you feel angry or a certain type of anything that's negative, you got to take a few steps back. And, you know, Uplay comes first. It's number one. And I'm super proud of everything that's been accomplished. There's been nothing but amazing feedback from the schools. The impact left in 3 communities now has been awesome. And actually, I decided to take off from choosing a school this week so that I could have Paradise and I could have this one last week to really just be here and soak it all in. So I'm really stoked about it. And thanks for letting me shed a little bit of light on that, because I do want people to feel empowered to like take care of themselves first.
Yeah.
Because disc golf deserves it and you deserve it. Like, you deserve it first, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a game, and, you know, your body's you and you have to live with that. So take care of you first is always the number one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also want to state that it's really been special to be supported by every single community that I've been in. And there's a lot of people that aren't even disc golfers that attended my classes. There were teachers that were on holiday that just chose to pick their free time in Topa and come and learn about something. And we were able to, you play through Ken and Steve Lawson and Ken Harris, I think is his last name.
Yep.
I know it is. Sorry. We were able to donate starter packs for free to those teachers to get it going in their school. And what that really resembles is like a big collective impact for the community. And there are hundreds and hundreds of more children guaranteed to play disc golf in 2024 while they're at school. And that's like, I just wanted to report on a small tidal wave of growth that's coming, because it's special, and New Zealand should be really, really celebrating the fact that it's happening. Your adult community leaders that aren't disc golfers and your teachers that may or may not have a disc golf affiliation are super hungry for it and super open to it. And every one of them gave me their email, looked me in the eye and said, I'm going to teach disc golf. Thank you. Like I'm empowered to do this. Like I said, a bunch of books were bought, and it's important for everyone to know that they're hungry for it. The minds are open and the excitement is there. It's like the first couple of years in the United States of teaching, and that's just been like a tsunami. You know, it's been amazing what the growth has been. And I know that I haven't really been privy to a ton of the talk or the discussion in the podcast tonight, but I'm here to like be part of the good news club with you guys, that there's so many kids and so many other people outside of disc golf becoming familiar and becoming attached and connected and excited. And we really just, as disc golf, need to keep that candle burning bright. And in order to dump gas on it, exactly what I just said, keep it a collective impact. Don't let negativity or maybe if there's disagreements among your community, sort them out. Take a few steps back and a few deep breaths and come together, because we can't turn away these beautiful children, and we can't turn away these teachers. It's like awesome. I can't wait to get back here. The Tour Down Under has my commitment the same way. And this is kind of funny. You guys will learn more about this when the interviews and the podcasts come out about the inception of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. But I signed my name in blood, if you will. Like I've been Disc Golf Pro Tour since day one. Dustin and I, and actually Paul Oman and a guy named Shasta Chris.
Oh, Shasta, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Shasta,
Very first pros and employees of the Disc Golf Pro Tour that we set up every event and we took it down. And it's just really, really important to share that experience with you guys, because I remember that first year on tour. I remember all the hiccups and all the little silly bumps. And I remember people just yelling at this wonderful little man named Steve Dodge. I probably did it myself a couple times, but I also get really excited to send him a Christmas card, give him a hug every time I see him, and look back on like the huge, huge positive impact that it's made. And then the current ownership and the current director of the tour, the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And I brought Uplay over here pretty much on my own terms. And I convinced my board of directors that we needed to put a portion of our annual budget this year straight into the Tour Down Under, because it's in a place where the Disc Golf Pro Tour was at one time. And I witnessed firsthand all of those crazy bumps and all those gripes and all those moans. But we got to where we got to because people worked together and worked hard. And then eventually, the Disc Golf Pro Tour saw the value in the education sustainability piece. So actually, there's EDGE, Educational Disc Golf Experience. A couple of wonderful folks, and one of my heroes, Jay Redding, actually runs that nonprofit. It's been around for 21 years. We've been around for 7, and DGPT works with both of us. So it's important for me to share what you guys have, my experience, and know how excited I am to come back and keep this going, because right now I'm on a whole different level with what we're doing for educational trainings for massive amounts of teachers. And I fully plan to do that when I get back. Every time, just make as much happen as we can. But I want to know that those courses are going in, and that those disc golf community members are ready to take them on, take them in.
Fantastic. So in terms of the people that you've met, the coaches that you coached earlier on, what's the kind of the follow-up for them after, when you guys have gone back to the States, and what in 6 months' time, what are they? Do you have a contact with them afterwards?
Yeah, so I gave every single person a free and open invitation to email me personally, have dialogue, answer questions. I gave everyone, we donated the books to the schools, but I gave everyone the opportunity to buy a curriculum from me firsthand, talk about it, share their experiences, and resource me. Now, Uplay has an operations kind of management where no matter what, I have all of their emails, and I get to follow up and just say, hey guys, how many kids have you taught? If you haven't taught, do you have plans to teach? If none of that's in place, how can I support you? Because every single person that came, they came for a reason. And the first thing that I say to the adult classes is, if you haven't been asked to teach yet, you're going to be asked. If you've been asked to teach, and then here's the list of questions you need to ask yourself before you answer yes. and then here's the safety checklist and how to prepare, and then we get straight into how to use the book. And so I'm looking forward to sorry.
All right.
I'm looking forward to actually hearing kind of, it's not like it's a competitive race, but I'm pretty competitive just as an athlete. I'm looking forward to seeing who can blow my mind first, and like who's really gonna teach the first class, and who's gonna tell me about as many things as possible. And even furthermore, in the curriculum, at the end of each chapter, there's something called fun work, and that's the homework you send kids home with to think about disc golf in a different scope, or maybe it's extra credit for a class. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of that artwork or those testimonials from the children, because it just makes you play stronger. This is how we're actually becoming the proven educational method right now, is just by experience and information share. So looking forward to it and reporting back to you guys. And I can't wait to hear back on how things are really kind of coming together over here.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to have you back on the show in sort of 6 months' time, and you can give us an update about how, you know, we've been doing, and we can give you an update about what's been going on here. I think that would be fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for letting me talk tonight. I'm extremely proud, and I'm extremely proud of these touring pros for always volunteering their time.
Yeah.
And for supporting UPlay's efforts. We're all in this together, and I'm honored.
I think I've heard more from every disc golfer almost that I've ever met that they wish they picked it up sooner. And I think that it's so important to get, you know, the sport into kids' hands as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and I was lucky enough that my dad, you know, took me out when I was 5 years old. So I've always known the sport, and I just want that for as many people as possible.
It's my biggest regret personally. I was 35 before I started playing, and it's frustrating. I wish I was, you know, well, I mentioned it last week. My son was born 2 weeks ago and has a PDGA number, and will be coming out with me as soon as he can.
Woohoo!
Well, guys, I think we're gonna send you back with Henry, and thank you for letting us, you know, have a few words and being on the show.
Thank you both very much.
And very best of luck, both in your recovery and this weekend. Hopefully, you both get to play.
Absolutely. There we go. Thanks guys.
Thanks, team.
This might be the longest episode of Sweet Chain ever.
It might be.
It's getting up there. I think we were past 11 last week too, actually.
Henry, I'm gonna let you go in a minute, but I just want to kind of summarize a few things and just say a few words, if I may. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, and for clarifying some things and being honest with what's happened, and both the good and the bad. I understand that there are still some questions out there that people might have. If they have those questions, what's the best way for them to go about getting them answered?
They can email me directly at henry@tourdownunder.co.nz, or they can comment on one of our Facebook posts if they like, and I'll endeavour to respond as soon as I can. But I've tried to respond to as many sort of queries either directly via email or on public forums like Facebook as possible. But yeah, look, I'm happy to respond to as many as I can.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for coming on today and for clarifying a few things. We appreciate your honesty, and we appreciate the recognition of some of the shortcomings. We also congratulate you for the job you've done.
Yeah, look, thanks. I appreciate it a lot, and thanks as well for your support of I suppose our initiative with the tour, and also for supporting Corey and Nate and Zoe and all of our special people that are here this summer and their own sort of endeavours to grow the game in this part of the world. So they're obviously, as they mentioned before, they just took it on their own bat really to kind of be part of the episode tonight, and which was really sort of special, I think, to have.
Mm-hmm.
And they're obviously very excited, I think, about the potential that we have here in New Zealand to make an impact that might be as grand as what is happening in Finland or other places around the world where professional and amateur disc golf is a serious sort of sport. You know, it's not considered just a game anymore. And so, look, who knows what will happen over the next couple of years? But if anything's to go by with regards to what Nate, Zoe, and Corey have to say, I think we're together all on to a pretty good thing, and need to kind of work together to kind of nurture those visions and missions to make the most of this special opportunity that I think we have.
Excellent. Look, very best of luck this weekend. You're not the tournament director and you're not playing, so you've got a bit of a weekend off then. Feet up.
Well, I'll have you know, Matt, that I am entered into my first PDGA sanctioned event of the year. In fact, the first one I've played in about 4 months. So I am weekend, which will be fun. I don't know if I'll make it all 3 rounds, but we'll see.
Yeah, excellent. Well, very best of luck. Yeah, I'm sure we'll speak to you again. And yeah, so see you soon. And best of luck for the weekend.
Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Henry. Enjoy the weekend, man. Paradise is special, and you're gonna love it.
Thanks. Yeah, I will. Hope to see you there.
Right, there we go. A lot has happened in the last 2 hours, and I think it's really good that that Henry clarified some of the things that we complained about, that we perhaps nitpicked at last week. It's fair enough.
Yeah, and I actually kind of want to go back to that. You know, there's been so much going on between you and I and Henry, you, I, and Zoe, Nate, and Corey that I haven't even really had a chance to look at the chat in the last hour. So apologies to everyone that's there. But I think what everyone also needs to understand, especially the people that are sort of having a bit of a gripe at us, is there is no other show like this in New Zealand. We are the good, the bad, and the ugly. We need to go over everything, especially when you guys are the ones. You know, I'll take the ugly section. You guys are the ones sending us the comments. You guys are the ones posting online, and we are simply reading, commenting, reviewing, and giving our takes on what is out there. This isn't our personal opinions by any stretch, although we obviously have our opinions on things. So please take that as you will and as it should be. We're just doing our job, our highly paid job. Matt's waiting for my paycheck. And we're just doing our best to cover everything in New Zealand. So,
on the subject,
that's my wee piece on that.
On the subject of your paycheck, Morgan, chat, if you're listening and you like what we do, then perhaps drop us a subscribe on YouTube. It really helps the channel and helps Morgan get his paycheck. So so do that if you'd be so kind. You say you missed the chat. I do want to bring one thing up. Brett Carlisle asks, have there ever been this many pros interviewed on a bunk bed at the same time? The answer is no, Brett. This was a record-breaking episode. I think the most we ever had at one time was 3, maybe even 4. So congratulations to everyone.
I think when you post this back to YouTube, that's how you do it, Matt. You need to at least post Step Brothers image on there. Just the bunk beds episode.
Excellent. Right. Look, we've got some other things that I want to get to. Now, I did want to talk about some rising costs that have occurred in the last couple of weeks. One is the UDisc subscription cost increase, and I just want to get your thoughts and chat's thoughts about whether you're going to go and resubscribe to UDisc. And also Disc Golf Network announced their price lists for the upcoming season. Now, I'm going to subscribe to both, and probably at the higher tier for Disc Golf Network, because I think it's a bargain, honestly, for both. But I'd be really interested to hear chat's thoughts. But maybe we'll have a conversation on that next week, because we're getting on a bit now, and we've got a couple of staple segments to get through that we'd like to highlight. Not least, we've got some results to go over, some predictions to do for this weekend, and some power rankings that have finally been updated. So let's get into all of that. First up, let's have a look. If you haven't seen this, although I don't know what you've been doing, maybe living under a rock. because the results of Bottle Lake, it was taken out by no less than the hometown hero, Levi Stout, who wins over Luke Humphreys. If you please go and watch the coverage on GK Pro, it's brilliant, and Levi comes back in the last. I think he eagles. They both get eagle. I'm not going to tell you. He wins, but
go
and watch it. It's fantastic, and he has to work hard to win it. But it's great to see. Paul Oman finishes in third, charging back with a 10:56 final round, and then Jackson Sullivan, Sebastian Faulkner, and Francis Orange are all tied for fourth place. Morgan, 17 shots behind Levi.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, the young man just keeps. Well, I don't even know how to put it in words. He is just unbelievable.
He's in a different league right now. In FPO, Juliana Corva wins quite comfortably, but it's maybe a bit of a surprise to see Sapphire Wido up in second place, beating out Hayley Flintoff, Megan Merrick, Nicola Stout, Gemma Sullivan, Alexandra Williams.
Yeah, well, I mean, someone I'm not familiar with at all. Obviously, doesn't have a PDGA rating there. PDGA number 27. My screen is tiny.
276.
The TV.
Fairly new.
276519. There we go. Look at the TV, not at the tiny laptop.
She has played in New Zealand before. She played at the Smash last year. That the analytics team are aware of, but that's certainly her best result to date. So congratulations to Sapphire. A few
absolutely.
Good, solid rounds there, rounds 1 and 2.
I mean, beating out Hayley is absolutely
no feat, right?
It's a huge feat.
Yeah, that's pretty big. So congratulations. In MP40, Mikey Yu takes out the win over Jay Pookie Pookie. Had the win from the start, or had the lead from the start, I should say.
Yeah, 6 shots right off the bat,
and then hung on with a 5-shot lead. So well done to him over Jim Oates in third. MA1, Sergei Sanin takes the win over Keaton Nager and Cooper Solis in third. Pretty hot 973 final round from Sergei Sanin, and even hotter 996 first rated round. So well done to Sergei. Down in FA1, Jessica Wodziwiarts, I pronounced that horrendously.
I'm not going to try that one.
Okay. My apologies, Jessica, for butchering your name. But she takes out the win by 15 shots over Holly Norris. MA40, the best division, sees Kyle Martin. We tipped this. Do you remember? We said Kyle Martin and Ed Waddington will go on a battle, and it will be up to those two. But we think Kyle Martin will take it out. And we were absolutely right. So well done to Kyle Martin. Didn't have it all his way. Had to make a comeback in the last 2 rounds, or the last round, I should say, to take it out. MA50, Patrick Pritchard takes out the win here fairly comfortably by 22 shots. In MA2, Logan MacArthur beats Craig Gold by a single stroke. And he shot 5 shots better than him in the final round. 945 in MA2. Tell you what, it's getting scary. Sometimes I look at fields and I go, should I enter the MA1 instead of MA40? And then when I see people in MA2 shooting 945, I'm reminded that perhaps I should stay in my lane.
Well, I mean, you and I both could probably take a wee trip down to MA2 if you like, you know?
Maybe we should. Maybe we should, just so that I get to play against you at some point, and I don't have to wait 5 years to do it.
Only 4 years now, Matt. Only 4.
Is it only 4? Okay, 4 years. So Alex Batten wins MA3 by 4 shots. Again, his final round gives him that lead over Simon McKay. And that's Bottle Lake. Now, let's have a look before we go at Paradise. Let's have a quick look at the power rankings, because the power rankings, there's been some changes. Okay, there's been some changes because we haven't done this since Roxburgh, right? So we've got the Smash, we've got the Seafarer, we've got Topor, Nationals, and Bottle Lake, and I think that there was also Day of the Triffids and the one day down in Christchurch, which all got wrapped into our update. So so let's have a look at that. And first up, the upcoming events. Paradise Place is this weekend. Ashburton is next weekend, and then Dystopia by Disconnection in Marston. Really looking forward to that event. I'm going to that one. And then Morgan, it's your event, isn't it? It's the one that you go for each year. The Queen's
I'm just
Crown
looking
Classic.
at that. I'm just looking that up.
That you've got to be favourite for that, surely, for the history you've got.
I mean, surely favourite. I mean, right now in MPO, it's myself, Roberts Christians, Mikey Yu, Jaden Menzies, and Trent Hogg. That's it for MPO. So,
yeah, but
surely in the money.
That's a pretty stacked division, in fairness. But I know that you're something special around the garden, so we'll see.
Special, the key word there.
We've got Makaripi Garden City Open, which is now sold out. Armageddon, which is also sold out, and then which is the final two Elite Series.
Yeah, I actually Garden City Open extended. They had a 22-23 deep wait list, which is 24, I'm assuming, because it would have been 150 and now we're at 174.
Oh,
so
okay. So
we've let in all of the guys on the wait list. And
all of the wait list guys. Good work.
I believe the wait list is also expanded again now, though. So we'll see if anything happens there. But I think with daylight hours, that might not happen again.
Okay, well, we shall see. Makaripi registration opened at 8 o'clock today. So if you're keen on getting to Rotorua on the 23rd, 24th of March, then head over to Disc Golf Scene and you can register for the event in Rotorua end of March. And that brings us to our power rankings. So here we go. Michelle Simpson moves up one spot to second. Michaela Kerr is one of the biggest winners this week with a 9-stroke advantage over 9 places up to fourth. Laura Kaistrup and Charlotte Dunkley also climb up to fifth and sixth, respectively. Gemma Sullivan re-enters the rankings due to playing enough events with her recent performance at Bottle Lake, and this is where the rankings in some way fall apart when there's a low number of events, because Megan beat Gemma this weekend and has come in below her. There's reasons for that, which I'll explain on a separate episode. And I'll tell you what, we're a bit, not that one. Maybe we should, hang on, I'm just going to try and resize things so we get the whole table in, because we're
That's all right. Just one comment that's in the chat there from Brett Carlisle. Still spots open for Queenstown. Currently an 11 deep wait list on Queenstown. 84 of 84 players on the list, plus 11 more on the wait list. So, but as also Ryan in the chat said, join the wait list. I don't know which event he was talking to, but always join the wait list, because you don't know what's going to happen, guys. If TD slightly changed what their plans were, they open it up to a bunch of people that are already there. You know, they make adjustments to the course, and people always pull out. So get your name on the wait list if you want to get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Alison Tweedy moves up one spot to 13th, and Sapphire Wido moves up 10 spots to 20th, thanks to her second place finish at Bottle Lake. Over in the power rankings, Levi Stout keeps his number one spot. I don't think there's any surprise there. He is the best player in New Zealand right now and has been for about 6 months easily. Ethan Stout moves up 6 places to third. Simon Feezy's up 5 spaces to 8th. Sam Lycan up 34 spaces to 15th.
Wow.
So congratulations to him. Jake Brennan and Willie Taratner are the other winners in the top 20. Now, there's a couple of people in the top 20 who fell out due to number of events played, notably Ben Willake, but there has been some others. And hence why everybody in the top 20 is kind of bumped a little bit, is because they will. But however, when Ben returns to disc golf, and I wouldn't be surprised, I don't know if he's back for the Classic, then
I don't believe so. Don't believe so. He's still in Japan for the whole winter season.
Oh, okay. Well, for now at least, he should be waiting in the wings, waiting for his next event, I'm sure. So some big changes to the power rankings. Yes, we will update the power rankings on our website. That's long overdue. I'll attempt to get it done probably tomorrow, if not over the weekend. So keep a lookout for that, and that'll have the rankings all the way down. So if you're languishing in somewhere around me in like 110th or something, then you'll find yourself. I think we go all the way down to about 280 in the MPO division and about 70 in the ladies division. So you'll be able to check out where you stack up against the country's best. Now let's have a quick look at the Paradise Plates. And Morgan, I need some picks for you on your top 5, please.
Oh, 2 seconds. Sorry, Matt. I don't have that one open. PDGA Paradise Plates 2024.
Let's take a quick look at the field. We've got a new addition to this event. Sullivan Tipton is back from injury and will be playing in this event. The player that's kind of the most closely rated to Corey Ellis. Hopefully, Corey gets to play the whole event as well. We've seen what Paul Oman can do and the way in which he plays. That was on footage, and we all know that Levi's game is there. Look, how do you think the top 5 is going to shake out?
Man, it's really hard to tell right the minute. It's actually it's a really hard one to pick. Obviously, Corey's just nursing a bit of an injury at the moment. Sullivan Tipton, I probably don't have enough background on to really comment if he's going to be at the top there. Same with Paul Oman. Someone I do think is going to be maybe not at the top, but quite a few strokes closer than he has been in the last couple of events is Jacko. I've seen Jacko.
I agree.
I've seen Jacko dominate this course. It takes an arm as big as his and the finesse that he has to sort of put together a really hot round here. Obviously, I think Levi. I think Jacko's probably going to be in a pretty close battle with one of Sullivan or Paul. And I mean, I guess I just can't go away from Levi going back to back.
Also like to shout out Ethan Stout. He played on the lead card of Paradise when it was Nationals in 22, so has history at this course.
Yeah.
So we could see quite a battle there between the 2 Stout brothers and Jacko. I think honestly they'll be the 3 New Zealanders who will give the 4 Americans the top there a run.
Please tell me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Has Ryan Cambridge won this event before?
Oh, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
He might not have won it, but I know he's been right up there before. He is very good at this course.
So last year,
I'm also scrolling back through.
Last year, let's have a look. Oh yes, he came 4th last year at MPO.
Oh yeah, there it is, 4th.
And in 2022, doesn't look like he played it in 2022. That's when it was Nationals. I'm not sure he would have played it in 21.
No, he got 2nd in MA1 back in the day.
Okay, all right. But look, we know Ryan's a very good player, right? He's got a massive arm on him, and I know the terrain is very different in Paradise compared to some of the courses in Wanaka. The differences in elevation are perhaps not so. So he'll be used to those elevation changes, and that could really land him in good stead. I do think, however, it's going to be between Ethan, Levi, and Jacko leading the Kiwis, and we shall see whether they can make inroads into that 3 at the top.
I'm definitely going to put Ryan in there as my wee dark horse to be sneaking into that top 5.
Okay, that's fair. In FPO, so we've got Michelle Simpson is playing in this event. She's played some really good. She's capable of playing some really good golf. And it's great to see her going head to head against Hayley Flintoff.
Yep, absolutely. It's for me. It's hard to see Hales losing out at Paradise. She is at 1 with this course and this place in nature.
But if Zoe's playing and is up to full fitness,
well, that's the other thing you got to ask. Zoe herself has said she's sort of coming in under the injury umbrella. So we'll have to wait and see.
We shall see. It's going to be a great card to follow. That's an incredibly competitive card. That 1 p.m. Card to follow along on Saturday. So
here's one for you, Victoria Speller. not in FPO.
Okay.
But I, again, wouldn't be surprised if she came out on top of all the ladies.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a big call, but we shall see how that shakes out.
Look, she just made me some really good cookies. I can't say anything about that. All right.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, I see what's going on. In MP40, Simon Feasy is probably favourites here, but Mikey, you will give him a good go.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you're going to see Tom McKay out there as well. He knows this course very well. Yeah,
Tom
he does.
Always plays well, and he somewhat of a dark horse, I would argue, in that division.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever been looked at as a dark horse, man. He's just always been there, like right there. So yeah, keep an eye on him.
That's fair enough. I'm going to shout out in MP50 the old fart Gary Jarvis. He's part of our old farts crew, and he's on a cycling holiday. He's made his way down to Paradise there, and so I'll be cheering Gary on in MP50.
Did you just say he cycled all the way to Paradise?
Maybe from Wellington, not in one go. Obviously, stopped, but like, yeah, I think he'd cycled from somewhere to. He's on a cycling holiday. I think he might have gone across on the ferry and then down from Picton.
Cool, epic. Yeah. So, that's one way to get to a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's incredibly fit. He used to be, and he might, and still is, I think, a very competitive ultimate player, and so is incredibly fit. So yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised. He's also got a cannon, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does well this weekend in MP50. MA1, Cooper Solis could be the favourite going into this.
Yeah. Definitely.
Semi-local course, third place at Bottle Lake.
Yep. Sorry, just scrolling back down a little bit here. There we go. Yeah, Coops, 933, highest rated player in that division. Here's one for you, Sky Lovell. And I'm putting this out here because, Sky, as weird as it sounds, I think I had a dream that you were in. Not about you, but you were in last night. So it's a sign.
Sky Lovell for the win in MA1 then. Mm-hmm. Over in FA1, Victoria Speller is who you're calling out here as taking the win. I think that's fair out of FA1. I'd agree with that. It will be difficult to say whether she takes out over all the ladies because she's playing different tees. But it would be difficult to compare. Tight little division in MA40, the best division. Stuart Gilchrist could well be favourite going into this one.
Yes, Stu's got a lot of history at this course. Ben Thompson, though. Ben Thompson right there, I don't think his rating at all reflects his gameplay. He just doesn't play that many tournaments anymore.
And I know the latest member of Generation Disc Golf, Arne Burgess, will be getting some cheers from
yes, Mr. Arnie.
FA40, this is such a tight division. I think any one of these four ladies could win this one. Sue Brown probably edges it, but we shall see. Another great battle. There's battles all over this card.
Yeah, there is. There certainly is.
And in MA50, Chris Davis,
Mark
Tebbett. You're calling Mark Tebbett to win this
one? Calling Mark Tebbett again.
Okay, yeah, I know. I think
let's
that's
go,
fair. And finally, not quite finally, but MA2, or it is finally actually in MA2. Mark Boland is the highest rated player going into this over Joseph Ball and Liam Spronken. As we've seen in the past, though, MA2 and MA3 divisions, it's anyone's game. If you're in the division, you've got a chance of taking it out. They're so tight and so close.
Yeah. So I'll go a little bit deeper into the division there, and I'll go with Mr. Harry Iyer from Tianao for the win in this one.
Excellent. Well, look, that's more or less wraps it up from us. Thank you so much for listening to us for 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's been an incredible journey. Thank you so much. If you like what we do, please consider giving us a subscribe on YouTube and maybe throwing the video a like. It really does help to get us in front of more eyes and more people seeing what we're doing. Very best of luck to everybody who's playing in Paradise this weekend. Not sure we'll be able to follow the along live. We'll have to see. Not normally.
The reception's definitely not good enough for that down there. But,
it's normally at end of the day and everything gets updated. So we'll look at that. But if GK Pro are anything to go by, we may even have their coverage out.
Yeah, I guess it just depends. I guess it just depends where they're staying. I know the MDG guys are staying down in Glenorchy, so maybe those guys are down there as well.
Could well be. Well, best of luck to everybody playing at Paradise and wherever you're playing disc golf. Take it easy, play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week.